welcome to a new segment called Analyzing Albums with Animals. So, in this segment, I'm going to talk about an entire album instead of just either lyrics or a piece of a song. So, the first album I'm going to start with, keeping in my 21 Pilots theme this week, is Trench by 21 Pilots. This came out on October 5th, 2018. And with that, they're doing a whole new tour. So, yeah, so let's get in. The first song is Jumpsuit, which is their first single off the new album, and I think it did a really good job of introducing everyone to the theme of like the Nico and the Niners theme, the jumpsuit theme, like kind of the theme of Trench, which is great. So this album like now has that idea of there is like a specific story that kind of goes with it. And it's interesting because you'll see as I talk about the certain songs, whether it goes with the theme or not. So that kind of changes the whole feel of the album. But yeah, I think Jumpsuit was a really strong first song for that. And I think they did a nice job. And I especially love in general when songs end and then start the next song. So that's what happens. Jumpsuit goes right into the next song, which is Levitate. So Levitate for me is not a song that I immediately love, and sometimes I listen to it and I enjoy it, and then sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, it's like a little bit too much of a rap feel for me. I don't really love that genre of music in general, and again, every other time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I really like the lyrics, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I really don't like the lyrics. Like, they're just not creative enough, and it just doesn't really like work for me in certain parts of the song, but then other parts it really does work and I really like it. So this is kind of just like a tough one for me in general, but again, it totally fits that Nico and the Niners theme, which is really great. So I at least appreciate that they stuck with the theme for their second song. The next song is Morph, which has a totally different feel musically from Levitate, and I like totally love it. Actually, the chorus reminds me of like a Justin Timberlake song, which is like kind of like off the theme musically a little bit, but the lyrics definitely work for the Nico and the Niners theme. So, so yeah, I think the lyrics are really cool, and this is also the song that they do the Josh Dun part for, so I think that's really cool, and I like that they've kept that up for the past couple albums, so it's nice that they have a song with Josh Dun in it every album, so it's really cool, and again, it totally fits the Trench theme, so that song really works for me. The song after that is My Blood, which is their current bigger single, and although lyrically it does not fit the theme for Trench, musically it really does a nice job in continuing, especially after Morph. I think the Morph and My Blood part of the songs, the music parts of the songs, like really work well together, and that was like a really good transition into the next song. And I just like love this song, and I think it's great. And honestly, one reason that I really love it is because I love signing to it. It's just a really fun song to sign to. So it's a really good song. I really like it, and I'm glad it's a bigger single for them right now. So hopefully it will continue to be big for them. So after My Blood is Chlorine, and I really like this song. It totally fits the theme for Nico and the Niners, and again, it's starting to pull you back in because even though My Blood musically fits it, it doesn't necessarily fit lyrically. So it also has a lot of interesting lyrics, like they again compare music to an actual thing, so which is not the first time they've done that. So my favorite, like my taste in music is your face, right? Is that now he's saying that like I'm a chemical, music is like a beat, this beat is a chemical. So I really like that part lyrically. Also, the other thing I really love is the red carnation. So the whole theme of Trench, right, is that this yellow, color yellow is supposed to be this rebel color. But the line talks about rebel red, and then the next line is while it grows, I decay, or I decay while it grows. And I like to think that that's because, like, Nico has convinced all of the people that are living underneath him in this society that red is a rebel color, so really it's just like a ruse, and it's actually a way that Nico and the Niners can control people even more, right? So they're like, oh yeah, red's like a rebel color, you could totally like go against us with this color, and then it's actually not at all. It's really just a way to make people feel like they are free and making their own choices. So I really actually love that, and I think that's a really cool thing that they put into the song, and I don't know if that's what it means at all. I haven't looked it up. I haven't looked into it, but I really like that part, and I think it does a really great job for that song. And again, it fits the theme. And I know I already did a lyrics at lunchtime about the end of the song, so I still stand by it. I wish that they had said heart instead of house, but you know, whatever. So then the song kind of fades out, and it seems like it should go into the next song that like fits this theme, and Smithereens does start with like a little bit of like a music thing, and then the whole song just like changes, and the feel of the song changes, and it totally does not fit the theme. And I mean, I at least give him credit for addressing it. He says like, this is a song and I'm selling out and for my girl or whatever. But it really just, and it's not even that I don't like the song. The song is fine. I think it's just in the album, like as a whole, it totally pulls you out of that Trench theme, right? So you start with these really two strong songs with like a very clear Trench theme, and even Morph has a very clear Trench theme, and My Blood continues with the theme, even though it's a little bit further away. And then you get Chemical, or Chlorine, which is like a great, great like addition to that theme, and then Smithereens just pulls you out, and it just really impacts my like love for listening to the album from start to finish, because even though again it's not that I don't like the song Smithereens, it's just that it pulls me out of the feel of Trench, in my opinion. And so yeah, so that was a little bit of a for me, but the next song, which is Neon Gravestones, I really, really like that song. It has a really great start, and unfortunately I feel like it's a little bit awkward just because it's trying to like, you go from this like weird outlier song, Smithereens, and then it tries to pull you back in. So that was like a little bit of like an adjustment. And I feel like it almost gets lost because you're still recovering. You're like, wait a minute, like what's happening with that again? Like this was just really, I need to like get back into this Trench mode. But once you get back into the Trench mode, I really do love the lyrics. I think it's really great. I really like the message, and I love the language that was used to convey that message. I think they did a really nice job with the lyrics. So I do really like this song. And then this song ends abruptly with just words at the end, so I would have really liked, especially with the beginning piano part, would have really liked to see what they could have done if they had decided to continue this song with music and then ended it with some sort of like musical ending. So I think that would have been really cool to see, but I really do enjoy the song, and again, it totally brings like you back into the theme of Trench, so I really like that. After that, it's The Hype, which totally is a great, strong opening, especially following Neon Gravestones, and it's a little bit of a lighter tone, but it still has those like darker undertones in it, so I think it totally works as a follow-up for Neon Gravestones, and I think it's really well done. I love the lyrics, I love the music in this song, really works with the Trench theme, so it's just, again, like really does a really nice job in continuing that. And then after that is Nico and the Niners. So Nico and the Niners obviously is very straightforward themed to Trench. And it was released as one of their singles. And this is actually the first time in the album that that jumpsuit actually comes back, which I think is really interesting because when they released it, they released Jumpsuit first and then Levitate, and then after that, well, I guess Nico and the Niners was next, but regardless of which one came out first, they were so close to each other because you only had 3 songs, right? So it's like Jumpsuit, and then you had Levitate, and then you had another song with Jumpsuit in it. I really love how now that I have the whole album, when you listen to it, it's like Jumpsuit comes at the beginning, but then you're given a lot of time to kind of explore this whole Trench theme and kind of like, you almost, not that you forget about the jumpsuit, but you're almost like not as focused on it. So then when it comes back in Nico and the Niners, I did really like how that happened. So I think the placement of Nico and the Niners in this album is actually really good, and I think it was really well done. The next song is Cut My Lip. Oh, I have a serious love-hate relationship with this song. I really love I really love like the other lyrics and the verses. I think they're really great. I'm not a huge fan of the music in this song, and I really, for some reason, don't love the word contusions. I don't know if it's just the way he says it specifically or what it is, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. But what I do love is they also, this is the second time in the album that they mention lions. The first time they mention lions, he talks about like going into a lion's den, which is in my blood. But this time he talks about him being a lion. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the other thing I just like, again, this song for me kind of pulls me out of that theme. So you just had three solid songs that were just so like well put into the theme, and then you just totally like pulled me out again with this song. So again, I'm not a huge fan of the music. I don't think it goes with the theme that well. I really love the verses. I think they're great. So it's like a love-hate. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, well, it's not that bad. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's really not that good. So yeah, that's my take on that song. Anyway, the next song after that is Bandito, and let me tell you, the opening to Bandito totally rights all of the wrongs that have happened with Cut My Lip, because it is just so good. I love this song so much, and I also found it super interesting that they went with high versus low in the lyrics, and in Morph, which I know I didn't talk about, but I meant to talk about, they talk about being above, below, and around. And so I love that even though they're not talking about the same pronoun, preposition, oh gosh, they're not talking about the same preposition, they are like still keeping in that like high versus low. And again, like that word high is mentioned a lot in especially like Nico and the Niners, right? Like my jumpsuit takes me high. So I think it's really cool that they chose their prepositions for Bandito versus Morph, and I really do like how it's different, but it again like kind of gives you that same idea. And I really do like in Morph how they talked about like above versus below and what those different things mean, and then they kind of bring it back subtly. So I did really love that in that song, and I did forget to mention that, but I really, really, really did love that. But getting back to Bandito, a very clear-cut theme for Trench and Nico and his Niners. I really like the bridge when he talks about creating a world to be destroyed. That totally, again, like fits the Nico theme. So I really, really like that. I think that song is really fantastic, and really excited about that song. I think it's really good, and that's what their tour is called too, so I'm hoping that it's played on their tour. So hopefully that'll be cool. I'll let you know on Wednesday. Anyway, song after Bandito is Pet Cheetah, which I really like. Pet Cheetah. I think it's a really fun song. I think that it starts off musically really well, and I think the first verse and the pre-chorus like totally fit the Trench theme, and then you get to this Pet Cheetah part, and I think that it's like really funny and it's fun and it's like a really fun lyric, but it definitely like pulls you away like a little bit from the Trench theme, because you're like, wait, why are we talking about pet cheetahs? Like, it's awesome, and the whole rest of the song is really good, but then just that pet cheetah part kind of pulls you back out again from that Trench theme. But again, I think the song is really good, and I especially like the lyrics, and I don't mind the music so much in this one, but especially before like pre-Pet Cheetah part. But then once that Pet Cheetah part comes in, it's just like, it's like a little bit like almost like goofy. It's like a little bit too like comical, and maybe I'm like totally missing the point and have no idea what the Pet Cheetah is actually supposed to represent. But yeah, so so it's a little silly, but I do really love the idea in the chorus about stopping to find the problem, and then like he doesn't actually talk about finding a solution necessarily, so I thought that was a really interesting part. But again, it just sometimes a little bit pulls me out of that Trench theme with when he directly sings about the Pet Cheetah. The next song is Legend, and the song was written for his grandfather who recently passed away, so I thought that was really awesome, and I really enjoy the music to this song, and the lyrics are really good. And again, the music does not fit the Trench theme, but I think because it's not such a drastic change like Smithereens, I don't mind it so much. And also because Pet Cheetah kind of has already pulled you out a little bit, it's not such a like stark contrast to being like solidly in this theme and then just like like bottom ripped out from underneath you, dropped into this totally different genre of music. Which is how I feel with Smithereens. But definitely love this song. I think it's really sweet that he made this song for his grandfather. And obviously they put this towards the end of the album, and sometimes bands will do that just because it's like more significant, or usually they end with like a slower song. Not that this is necessarily a slower song, but definitely enjoyed it, and I thought it was well placed in the album. And it's a really good song. I like the lyrics. I like the beat of it. It's like very sweet, and also just like a solidly good song. Again, doesn't fit the theme, but because of the circumstances and the fact that you weren't just like totally pulled out of it is makes it, the placement of it, totally perfect, and I think it works really well with the album. And then the last song, talk about a perfect way to end this album. I love Leave the City. I think it is such a fantastic song, and it pulls not only the Nico and the Niners theme back into it, but it just pulls all of the themes. Like every song I feel like is somehow addressed in the lyrics or the music, and I think it's really awesome. The music is like slow and haunting, and it's just really such a great way to kind of end this adventure in Trench that we've been on. And he even addresses the fact that he's not in the trench alone. So again, this is clearly supposed to be like the, end of this album. And I think it's a fantastic song, and they really did a great job with it. I really, really, really do think that this was the perfect way to end this album. I love when they talk about like the low fire burning and then the significance of it going out. It totally also works. That brings it back to Working with Legend, which again doesn't really go with the Trench theme, but this song just happened to pull everything in, and I think they really did an awesome job. And the other thing is I love that, so the chorus is talking about how like they know that it's almost over. And then at the very end of the song, they talk about how the faces facing him, like looking back at him, I guess, from this. So he's on the stage and the faces facing him would be the crowd, and how they know, and they know. And so they kept just like repeating it. And instead of saying the rest of the chorus, which would have been, it's almost over, he says, what I need. So I really just like appreciated that they changed it up and they did it in such a great way. And, you just, really great way to end the song, but also a really strong way to end the album. So overall, I really enjoyed this album. I thought it was really good. Definitely had some really, really high points for me, and then had some kind of low points. So yeah, let me know what you think. Comment, like, subscribe, whatever. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this new segment, and hopefully we'll have some more albums to listen to. All right, bye!